Hi Scott, you okay? Just in terms of the injury situation, will anyone be back for Friday, and is the rest of the squad not on the sidelines okay, if that makes sense?
Yeah, everyone's fine. Coming out of the games that we've had, FA Cup game, and obviously boys were one involved, all fine. Injury-wise, we are pretty where we have been for large parts of the last few weeks, really. So nothing's really changed. Players who have been out injured are on the grass and they're progressing in the right way, but none that will be available for the Sunderland game.
Did the Reading game give you a good marker towards the future in terms of the young players that are in the squad and the ones that you gave debuts to?
Definitely did. Yeah, I mean, look, it's. I think I mentioned it and referenced it after the game. Always, you want to try and give these young players an opportunity. There's at that moment you're putting them into a game in an arena which they've never experienced before. It's up to them to go and survive and show their quality. And I thought the two young boys, on the day, they did exceptionally well. I was delighted for them, really pleased for them. And also on the flip side of that, made 11 changes in the game. Players, for one reason or other, currently maybe not been in around it, whether that's due to injury or just the form of other players, they've not been able to get minutes. I thought every single player what approached the game, that their whole demeanour around the game was first class, and again saw the quality of what they possess, really.
Is John Joe Shelvey still training with you?
He's training at the moment, yeah. So he's been with us now for a couple of days now, 3 or 4 days training with us. So decided to bring John Joe in, understand his quality. So yeah, just wanted to have a closer look on John Joe. We've not made a decision yet, and we'll have them conversations in the coming days with John Joe on how I see things and where he sits with it as well, really.
Do you think he's closer to signing or moving on, do you think?
I'm not really sure at this present moment in time. Like I said, it's been such a short space of time that John Joe's been in here. He's been first class since he's come in, applied himself in the right way, but it's still too early to say.
How are things progressing with incomings and the business that you want to do in this window?
Progressing really, but as always, a January transfer window is very, very difficult. Look, we want to try and be active if we can. There's obviously different factors into that, how you can be and whether you can be, for many reasons. As stated before, maybe some players will leave the football club who can try and gain some more minutes and get some more playing time, and we'll try and look around to see what we can add. I don't want to bring anyone in here who can't add anything, but we'll see what happens.
Is Morgan Whittaker at Plymouth a player you've identified as a target?
To be fair, it's never something that I will discuss. I think I've been consistent with that, and I stick to that, really. So we'll be looking around and we'll see, but regarding individual names, it's not something that I want to comment on.
Just in terms of the squad, you have Lyle Foster, obviously played on the left at Reading. His first goal since August, which will give him a boost, I guess. He's a really good footballer. So do you see him operating on that left side longer term?
I think he can do that, definitely. Yeah, I think it's certainly a position that we've put Lyle in. He's come out of a longish injury, brought him on in that position a couple of times off the bench, got an opportunity against Reading to play there, and I was hugely impressed with Lyle. Scored a goal, which was important. Probably seen over the last 2 weeks a different version of Lyle, getting right back up to speed, really. So undoubtedly he has quality, and definitely gives us options for him to play off the sides of the pitch a little bit, as well as he's more, I wouldn't say favoured, but the position that we recognise him in as being a striker, I think he can play off the left.
How would you describe the development of Fleming? I think he got 8 goals last season for Millwall. He's got 5 in 7 for you at the moment. Is he someone you've coached, helped to get better? Do you feel like he's got better since he arrived at the football club?
I think he's definitely got better, yeah. It's always people need to understand the dynamics of moving to a different club, albeit he's come out of this division, so it's an easier transition there for him. But coming out of Millwall, different way of playing, probably different styles of playing, a lot of information that Zian's had to absorb in a short space of time, I get can sometimes be pretty drowning, and certainly can be pretty difficult. This is a player that's fully engaged, and you're probably starting to see that really starting to become more comfortable in his surroundings and on the pitch as well. Like you've highlighted, he's in fine form, and he's been brilliant since he's come in, really. some people may question whether he's a striker at times or a 10. I see he's both. I see he can be that player that can lead a line, can be a platform for us, and I think he's proven that over the short space of time he's been with us. And yeah, hopefully long may that continue. I still see loads of room for improvement with him as well.
There's obviously a lot of focus on your defensive record and the fact it's 9 goals conceded in mid-January across the season. You're on for all sorts of records, but I guess for you that's the whole team, isn't it? Not just the back four and the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it is. Look, I think every interview you'll do with a player sitting at this table, or an interview after a game, and you reference the clean sheets or how strong we are defensively, whoever that player is will probably reference the fact that as a team and as a unit, as a group of men, we have traits and we have an understanding of what's needed in the defensive phase of the game, really. So that's give us a platform and a bedrock for us to go and win games and get results. No denying that this present moment in time is pretty it's very, very good in where we sit. Long may that continue. It's down to hard work and understanding and traits and habits in this team, what every player understands their role and responsibility. So good organisation, and yeah, like I said, long may that continue, really.
Does it help you've got strong backup for those players that are starting games at the moment? People like Joe Worrell and John Egan are supporting that group. I've spoken to Joe Worrell today, and he says he relishes helping out the other defenders even though he's not playing.
Yeah, it definitely does. I think the biggest thing you want as a coach is competition, healthy competition. It's a driver. It keeps people where they need to be, and in them positions like you've highlighted, the boys will get the shirt know that there's very, very good quality players behind them. And Joe Worrell's one you mentioned, John Egan, Ekdal, there's loads of players here with huge quality that's pushing every single day. This is a young group. CJ Humphreys, they're a young group that need every bit of the John Egan and the Joe Worrells and the experiences they bring, and they've been first class with that. While of course they're not going to be happy, Joe's the first to want to go and play. Probably understands at this moment in time that's where it is, really.
Yeah. Given you play in Sunderland, obviously going back to August, you lost there. How does now compare to then? How did that game make you feel at the time, Scott? Because that was a difficult one, wasn't it? And there was a lot of talk around the whole change of the club and all the personnel changes and things like that.
Well, I mean, it's not even comparable in where we currently are as a team and as a group compared to then. We was at the height of things, like I've mentioned before, which were pretty unprecedented at that moment in time. Things that probably wasn't out there into the open, but clearly we was in a bit of a state in that fixture. So yeah, I mean, look, where we've moved from that point to now is not even comparable. A tough game again on Friday night, like it was back then, but certainly I feel that we're in a better place. Certainly psychologically, as a group, we're in a much better place, and fundamentally probably in a much better place in terms of where we've come from and how we've developed along the way.
Did that test your managerial skills more than maybe other things in your career that time, or not?
I wouldn't say it tested. It was challenging. Like always, these are the challenges that one faces constantly. There was challenges there, but I've been involved in other clubs where there's always been constant challenges, and you need to get through them moments. And for sure, we've got through them, and yeah, we're in a better place now. Just
finally from me, Scott. Sunderland obviously have a lot of pace. How do you counter that? Is it a difficult thing to prepare for?
Well, they're a very good side. I think they've proven that over the course of this season as well. Really well coached team and have done remarkably well. And you're right, they've got individuals and pace in their team that we need to be fully aware of, and we will be. We face similar teams and similar qualities, and we've dealt with that pretty well. So, as always, we'll approach this game and try and be as dominant as we can, and try and take everything we can out of this game, and try and nullify them to the best we can, really.
Hi Scott, are you able to give us a little bit of a glimpse of how challenging it was before that first Sunderland game? I mean, the night before, for example, did you know which players would be available?
Yeah, I had a rough idea, yeah. I mean, look, they were just challenging times. The transfer window's open. That was where we were. We was in a place which some players didn't want be here. Obviously didn't want to play in and around it, and they were the challenges over the weeks coming to that. It escalated a little bit more towards that game. But yeah, look, I don't really want to go over that. We've come out of that. That's in the past now, and yeah, we're on the right track now.
What have you made of Sunderland this season? I think many have been quite impressed how they've managed to stay in touch with the likes of yourselves and the other two clubs.
A really good side, yeah, really good side. Young team, dynamic team, with quality on the top end of the pitch. Playing style as well can cause issues and problems, but as always, nothing that we've not really faced before. So yeah, we're looking forward to the game.
You name-checked Ekdal and Delcar before. They didn't start in the Cup last week. Are they two players that maybe could benefit from time out on loan?
It may be an option there, yeah. I mean, both players really have got the quality to play football, both very good football players really. So from my position, of course, I'd love to keep them here and be part of things, but I also understand that at their stages and whether game time is a big thing for them, which I'm sure it is, they want to try and play some minutes. It's a position in our squad that we are pretty stacked in terms of defenders, so there may be an option there. Finally,
can I ask you about reaction to the cup draw? In for a busy few weeks, aren't you, with Plymouth, Portsmouth and Southampton the next 3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah, busy one, another away game, so no, it's a good draw for us, Premier League team, so another big test for us, looking forward to that, and a chance for us to obviously try and put in a good performance and stay in a competition and get through to the next round really.
Hi Scott, with nearly 2 weeks since the last league game, how important has this been, not just physically but also mentally, before you know, as a group get ready for the relentless running again? Yeah,
it's probably been the most important thing really, obviously after the schedule we came out of, which was a pretty tiring one that in that Christmas period. I think it was very key for us to probably just take some breath and restock a little bit, give the players a little bit of downtime, rebooted them up over the last week or so, kicked them back into it, and ready for the next push which comes now, and the game's coming up.
And going into a game like this against a side obviously up there in the table with you, does the approach differ? Is it, you know, business as usual, or do you tweak things slightly in terms of how you prepare for these games?
No, same approach as always. Every game is vitally important. You want to look at a league table, of course. You can put some more importance on one game or another game. I don't really look at it like that. We need to approach this game like we've approached the majority of this year. Go into this game, we're fully prepared and understand what the dynamics is going to bring to this game and the quality we're up against. And what we're going to need to bring as well, really. So while I understand that in terms of a league table, how it looks, that there's two teams pretty close to each other, that holds no real relevance onto me in terms of what I need to see or how we'll prepare for this game. We won't prepare for this game any different than if we was playing someone lower down the league, really.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you. Andy? Good afternoon, Scott.
Hi, Andy.
Ashley Barnes has arrived. John Joe Shelvey is in the building. When you were looking towards the January transfer window, were you thinking this side needs a bit of know-how, a bit of experience, a bit of being there and done it, going into the final 4 or 5 months of the season? Was it about characters as well as positions?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I suppose I'm really reluctant to put a message that obviously these players have just come in for vast experience. They bring quality as well. Mm-hmm. This is a really young team, a really young squad. I understand the demands of this division and what you need in certain moments, and what you do need is characters, people that can help. Not only me, I'm the one that fronts it up, but obviously senior players that have probably got a t-shirt, worn it, and understand sometimes how it may look along the journey. And we often reference, Andy and I've often speak about the bumps in the road, and really how you deal with them bumps is what makes it sometimes a little bit more easier, or certainly rationalise it a little bit more, is people what have been through it and understand it. So yeah, 2 players you mentioned here, along with others in the squad, can, as well as their quality, can probably bring a little bit more of that experience and that nous that I know for sure in the next 23 games we're going to need. There's going to be some hiccups, there's going to be some bumps, and you need cool heads, calm heads. In an irrational world that we all live in football, and certainly we need to stay calm.
3 points separate the top four. You then have a gap of 9 points to Middlesbrough. Would you say that you're in a 4-horse race for the title?
Not really. No, this division's crazy. I've been in and around it a lot. You go and win. The amount of experiences I've had in this division where you go and put a run together, you could be 7th, 8th position, you put a run together of 3 or 4 games, 5 back-to-back wins, and before you know it, you're in and around it again. So, look, I'm a firm believer, and I don't really look at the table. It's not something that I'm really focused on. I just know that for us to be operating in and around where we need to be operating, you need to win. And that's the main focus, really. So, the league table's a league table, 9 points separates whatever. I really quickly realised you take your eye off of preparing yourselves and winning football matches. You could be on the end of a 3-game streak losing, or ultimately you could be the other end of it, really. And that's fundamentally it. So, cliche, I get, but each game as it comes, and us keep preparing the right way and keep adopting the right attitudes that we have done so far.
There's no getting away, though, that the next 2 home games are massive, aren't they? Given that it is Sunderland followed by Leeds.
Yeah.
What are you looking for in terms of, there have been struggles at home when teams come and don't want to win the game, and that has brought about challenges, but these are 2 huge games coming up at home, aren't they?
They're big games, of course they are. They're big games. But we would have this conversation if we was on a losing streak of 2 games now, and we're playing. I don't want to mention a team, so I don't want it to sound disrespectful. But a team who was sitting 13th in the league, you'll be saying to me, this next game's absolutely humongous. That's it. So yeah, of course, Sunderland at home, Leeds at home are 2 big games for us. Maybe there's a different approach to how them teams want to come and set up against us, certainly at turf, and that may suit a little bit. But I reiterate, like I said, this is a game of football on Friday night against a very, very good side, and we need to keep doing what we're doing. We need to keep improving for sure, but we need to keep adopting the same attitudes, the same approach of what we've done for large parts of this season, and that's give us a platform to be where we are. My feeling is we carry on along them lines, and while keep also improving, we'll be all right.
Finally, the left-back position has sort of been split almost equally between Lucas Perez and Bashir Humphreys. Has that been a case of horses for courses, where you've seen the attributes of one over the other against an opposition, but there is also rumoured interest in Ryan Manning, a left-back from Southampton? Is it an area you're looking to strengthen because neither of those have managed to nail it down?
No, it's not an area. I think you're right. Early on, 2 different profiles what we have there. Certainly early on that was the case. I think 2 different profiles. Lucas Perez, a really attack-minded fullback. Bash coming in, traditionally a centre half. Put him left back, and has probably progressed and moved and developed in a real short space of time into a more attack-minded one as well. Can offer that and give defensive stability. I make decisions and pick positions or players in terms of the dynamics of what a game's going to bring. No denying that Bash has done extremely well since he's gone into that position. But Lucas has as well, and probably gives just a different dynamic and gives me options in what we may face and what we may need in certain moments, and hence why you've probably seen a change in them personnels in certain games, really.